Thank you for attending this meeting of the Licensing Act 2003 Subcommittee on Wednesday the 2nd of November. Before we start, I would like to outline some housekeeping rules. There are no planned fire alarms, so if the alarm does sound, please leave via the nearest exit. Please can I also ask everybody to have their mobile phones either on silent or ideally switched off. Please note this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on YouTube. The web address for this is displayed on the agenda for the meeting and can be found in the Council's website. To facilitate this, can I request that when you are speaking... Oh, here we go. Do we have to go through all that again, Coral? Forgot to put my mic on. Did you? Which one do you want me to use? Right, I'm on this one. Right, sorry. Before we start, I would just like to outline some housekeeping rules. There are no planned fire alarms. If an alarm does sound, please leave via the nearest exit. Please can I also ask for all mobile phones to be switched off or put on silent. Please note this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on YouTube. The web address for this is displayed on the agenda for the meeting and can be found on the Council's website. To facilitate this, can I request that when you are speaking, you use the microphone in front of you, which I am now doing, which can be activated by pressing the button on the right-hand side. Once you are finished speaking, please ensure that it is turned off. We'll go to introductions. My name is Matthew Lynch. I'm Chair of Licensing and Public Safety Committee, and on my right, I will allow members to introduce themselves.
My name is Margaret Franz, I'm the Vice Chair of this committee.
Alan Platt, Ward Councillor for Croston, Eccleston and Maudsley Ward.
I'm Tracy Brzezowski, Customer Services Manager for Enforcement.
Good afternoon. My name is Nathan Howson. I'm the Licensing Team Leader for Chorley Council.
Good afternoon, PC Connolly, Police Licensing.
My name is Stephanie Malcolmson. I'm a Senior Solicitor in the Council's legal team.
My name is Bryn Hayes. I'm Area Manager for the Premise Licence Holder Trust-ins.
We also have officers from Democratic Services and IT over there. And are you just observing Adele's the new head of service, so she'll be observing today. Right, thank you. Just going to take my time between everything because we have a lot of documents and I don't want to miss anything. Right, now go to open the meeting. First things first, apologies.
No apologies, Chair.
Thank you. Item 1, declarations of interest. If a member has a pecuniary interest, they must withdraw from the meeting. Normally, you should leave the room before the business starts to be discussed. You do, however, have the same right to speak as a member of the public and may remain in the room to enable you to exercise that right and then leave immediately. In either case, you must not seek to improperly influence a decision on the matter. Do we have any declarations of interest? No. Item 2, procedure. The hearing will proceed as follows. The committee will first decide whether to allow persons specified on the Regulation 8 notice permission to speak. Then our Customer Services Manager will outline the application and any relevant representations. Questions to the Customer Service Manager will be permitted from committee members, the applicant, responsible authorities and the licence holder. The premises licence holder will then be invited to put forward any information in support of their application. Again, questions to the licence holder will be permitted from committee members, the applicant for review and responsible authorities. At this point, the committee will hear representations from the applicant for review, PC Connolly, Questions to the applicant for review will be permitted from committee members, responsible authorities and the licence holder. The committee will then receive representations from responsible authorities, in this case Nathan Housen, on behalf of the licensing authority. Questions to Nathan will be permitted from committee members, the applicant for review and the premises licence holder. I will then invite the applicant for review, responsible authorities and the licence holder to sum up in turn if they so wish. The public and any other persons, officers who are not directly supporting the committee will be excluded from the meeting at this point as we enter deliberations, and the YouTube stream will end. Following deliberations, we will request that the licence holder re-enter the meeting so that we can deliver our decision. The licence holder, applicant for review and responsible authorities will be issued with a detailed notice of decision within 5 working days after this hearing. Right, we'll go on to item 3, review of the premises licence, Trustings Limited. The committee need to consider whether to allow persons specified on Regulation 8 permission to speak. Tracy, have we had any requests?
Chair, we've had 3 requests, 3 returns of Reg 8 notifications. One from Bryn Hayes from Trustings, and the second one from Nathan Housen on behalf of the Licensing Authority, and the third one from PC Stephen Connolly on behalf of Lancashire Constabulary.
Thank you. Can I have a proposer? Seconder, all in favour? There we go. Thank you very much. Right. So, determine of application for the review of premises licence, the Imperial 59 Union Street, Chorley. Tracy, can you put forward the case?
Thank you, Chair. So the reason for the referral is to advise members that there is an application for review of the premises licence in respect of the premises detailed, and to request that members give due consideration to the application and any relevant representation take such steps that are considered appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives. The details of the corporate priorities this report relates to is at number 3 of the report, and the licensing objectives that I'm reminding members of are there at point 4, namely prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, prevention of public nuisance and protection of children from harm. Going down to 5, members are reminded that the duty of the licensing authority is to take steps to promote the licensing objectives, which I've just gone through, in the interests of the wider community and not those of the individual licence holder. And just to remind you that an appeal against any decision that you might make can be made to the Magistrates' Court within 21 days of a receipt of a determination notice, which will be delivered to all parties. The legal considerations are at point 7 of the report. Just to remind you, you need to have regard to the guidance issued under section 182 of the Licensing Act 2003, the Council's Statement of Policy, effective from 2016, the Licensing Act itself, and any relevant representations. So just going on to the background, at point 8, the premises have been licensed in the name of the current premises licence holder's name since the licence was transferred in 2015 under the grandfather rights when the Licensing Act was introduced. The premises licence was granted to the current licence holder, and there have been regular variation applications submitted for a change of designated premises supervisor. Currently, there is no designated premises supervisor on the premises licence, and a copy of the current premises licence is appended at Appendix 1. The premises is located in it says the main city centre, but it is the town centre, on Union Street, on the corner of Fellery Street, which is opposite the Flatiron car park. And the building is a 2-storey traditional end semi-detached building It is next door to a building which houses a cafe, which does not reflect on the nighttime economy. At the side of the licensed premises on Fillory Street are mainly residential family-type houses, and a location map of the premises is appended at Appendix 2. Point 10 of the report, you'll see that there's been an application review of the premises licence. That was received on the 9th of September 2022. I'm not going to go into the detail of that representation. PC Connolly is here to do that himself today. If I can take to point 13 of the report, regarding the advertisement of the application relevant representations. The application was advertised in accordance with the regulations in that the notice was displayed at the premises, at the council offices, and a copy of the application was published on the council's website for the whole 28-day consultation period. And in response to the consultation, and on the 7th of October 22, Mr Nathan Howson, Enforcement Team Leader for Licensing, an authorised officer of Chorley Council under the Licensing Act 2003, and on behalf of Chorley Council made a representation. And this representation is appended at Appendix 5 and 5A and relates to the prevention of crime and disorder objective. The comments of the monitoring officer are at 17 for you to read, but just to take straight to the conclusion at 18, the decision should be based on individual merits of the application and the representation in accordance with Regulation 26 of the Licensing Act 2003, which is the Hearings and Regulations 2005. And a decision must be made within 5 working days beginning with the day of the hearing. In accordance with Section 52, the authority must, having regard to the application and any relevant representations, take such steps mentioned below, if any, as it considers appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives. The steps are to modify the conditions of the licence, to exclude a licensable activity from the scope of the licence, to remove the designated premises supervisor, to suspend the licence for a period not exceeding 3 months, or to revoke the licence. And for the purpose of the previous paragraph, a condition of the licence is modified if any of them them are altered or omitted, or a new condition is imposed. I do want to just draw your attention to the 2 supplementary bits of information that you have, and I do know that that's been sent to all parties, which includes some conditions which have been agreed with all parties. But for now, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Questions from the committee? Councillor France.
Sorry, can I just ask the time at which the Imperial was taken over by the current premises licence holder? Was it 2005 or 2015? It's 2005 on the papers, but I thought I heard you say 2015. It's on paragraph 8.
So paragraph 8, so the licence was transferred in 2005 under grandfather rights. So there has been changes over the years, but it was transferred and given grandfather rights at that point when it was introduced.
Thank you.
I think what it's trying to say is that it was originally, there was a premises licence first granted for that premises in 2005, but the premises licence holder became responsible for it in 2015.
Thank you.
Any further? Hang on one meeting. I'm sure this is where I will normally teeter to the wrong person. However, reading the report, Tracy, have you got the ability to clarify who was in managing the premises? And I can see who the DPS is at certain times. I can also see a number of names claiming to be manager. Have we got any clarity on who was in control and who was applying the control measures?
I think if I went into those details now, I would step into the basis for the representation. It's probably better coming from the two representations from the applicants.
Right, okay.
And Liz,
In that case, have you got any questions for Tracy? No?
No.
Cool. Right. I need to stop saying cool. Nathan, any questions for Tracy?
No questions, thanks, Chair.
Any questions?
Just the point that you said, we'd only held the premise licence since 2015. That's not correct. We've had it a lot longer than that. During the licensing change of 2005, that's when we got grandfather rights.
I think that's what I said.
Yeah, I think we've just explained that.
So what's the date 2015? I don't understand the relevance.
Just bear with me a moment. I think
Yeah, of
that's at
course.
point 8, isn't it? And I think that's down to the last change that might have happened on the premises licence. Just bear with me a moment. Yeah, so the premises have been licensed in the name of the current premises licence holder name since the licence was transferred in 2005 under the grandfather rights when the Licensing Act 2003 was introduced. The premises licence was granted to the current licence holder and there have been regular variation applications submitted for a change of designated premises supervisor. Currently, there's no designated premises supervisor on the premises licence. I think it might have been the way that I read it, so I apologise for that.
Thank you.
Okay, no further questions, no legal questions? Right, excellent. Therefore, can I ask the premises licence holder to put forward information?
The Imperial Trustings a premise licence holder, but it's a tenanted pub business. We don't employ a manager. We lease the building.
Sorry, can I just interrupt? Is it not for the applicant to talk now?
Questions to customer services manager and then the premises licence holder. It says on my procedure.
Chair, I think the procedure's it's an
Slightly
old
out of-
procedure. I think
right.
it's slightly out of sync.
Okie dokie. Sorry. Thanks, Steph. Right, in that case, can I ask the applicant to put forward?
Good afternoon, Chair. I have compiled as part of my application to bring about the review to the Imperial. I've compiled quite a detailed statement. It's several pages long. It outlines every incident that Lancashire Constabulary have had reported since the premises reopened in March. It outlines walkthroughs, proactive walkthroughs done by officers during the nighttime economy. It is quite a detailed statement. If you're happy, I have a kind of abridged version of that to summarise the information, so I'm going to go through that instead. So, premises reopened in March 2022 as it had a new tenant, and the original DPS was one Darren Tickle. That was objected to from Lancashire Constabulary due to recent arrests and impending prosecutions of that individual. Following on from then, we saw 4 other DPS variations between March and August. Lancashire Constabulary objected to further 2 applications. The second one, as the proposed DPS said, that they were doing it as a favour for a mate and not actually in control of the premises. And then the third one was following the review application and following recent disorder at the premises. So, in terms of what my colleagues have had dealings with, it all starts at around the 24th of June to 2022, where officers do proactive walkthroughs. This is done after 2300 hours, where they've noted loud music being played inside, no door supervision. A similar walkthrough was conducted on the 2nd of July with very similar sort of findings. The first report we've had about the premises was on the 10th of July 2022, and that was a call from a member of staff at the premises saying that there was a barred customer causing problems and just kept coming into the premises despite being barred. Shortly after that report, at 1:45 in the morning, officers did a walkthrough of the premises. They've noted that there was no door staff on duty, the DPS was not present, and the bar manager also makes comments towards officers that she'd recently found a parcel of drugs inside the premises, which she's dropped off at the police station. On the 16th of July, officers do another walkthrough of the premises, this time at 1:45. Again, they note that there is no door staff present, the DPS is not present, and very loud music. The bar manager actually says to the officers when she's spoken to about the music, she says, "I know you can't hear an expletive thing inside," and that's captured on body camera. On the 3rd of August, there's an assault allegation that someone had been assaulted inside the premises. They'd been punched several times and had a pint of beer thrown over them. On the 6th of August, and this is late at night, allegation of assault inside the premises. The complainant stated that a person that is known for being on a pub watch ban had assaulted the complainant and was acting as a security guard within the premises despite not being licensed. On the 16th of August, there was an allegation of 15 persons fighting outside the premises, fighting inside the premises before spilling out onto the street. The Chorley Town Centre CCTV operators, they reviewed some footage and they saw from distance what appeared to be a scuffle on camera. There was no further complaints regarding that. On the 1st of September, CCTV operators for Chorley Town Centre capture a large fight ongoing outside the premises. When they've reviewed the footage, it showed people leaving the premises and start fighting between themselves and a female on the street. That goes on for several minutes, with several of the group going back inside the Imperial. Officers have attended and 2 persons were arrested. During the arrest, 2 of the officers were assaulted inside the Imperial. It's also noted that there was no door staff on duty that night as well. On the 4th of September, there was a further report alleging an assault at the premises. CCTV for the town centre once again showed people leaving the premises onto the street and then fighting in the car park opposite. It's also noted that there was no door staff on duty that night as well. That is a very brief summary of my evidence, Chair. I do have some media that I'd wish to show you. I've provided quite a lot, but I think for me, the key footage would be the footage on the 1st of September, body cam footage and town centre cameras.
I don't think it's necessary to watch every single second. However, if we could, if you want to instruct the officers which to play, we'll have a watch of them.
Chair, as the time on the footage says, this is the incident shortly after 11 p.m. on the 1st of September. It shows patrons outside the Imperial having exited the premises a short time earlier. I will need to check, Chair, but I believe there's a second clip that shows slight earlier footage than this. I think this is the second part of the incident brawling on the street. Chair, I think from this point, I think they'll go back inside the Imperial and we can probably play clip number 1 that shows the full start of it. I stand corrected. Chair, that definitely should be now the end of the clip of the female in the vest top going inside. Chair, apologies. One of the clips of CCTV don't appear to have made it over to yourselves for whatever reason. It shows the start of the incident of persons exiting the premises, fighting on Union Street before going down the side street.
So, 15 people. Other than that, that shows us there are incidents of violence outside the premises. Are all parties satisfied that, despite this other clip not being present, are all parties satisfied that there is a demonstration that that has taken place? Are we happy with that? Right. In that case, move on to whatever next point you want to make.
The next one will just be some body cam footage of officers inside the Imperial during that incident. Chair, in terms of the assaults against the police officers, they have now happened. She's kicked out at the both officers. Chair, in terms of the remaining footage, it now just shows the female being walked to the back of the police van. I don't feel as though it needs to carry on any further. There is one last clip that I would show you, and it'll only be a brief one, and it will be from the visit that was done by officers on the 16th of July 2022.
Sure body worn video is activated.
Brilliant.
Speak to the management.
Yeah, this is the body worn.
Yeah.
Make sure that's on. And who do we need to let know? Yeah.
Sorry, what was that?
Sure, just in terms,
Yeah,
before my
Sierra
colleagues go into the
Charlie,
premises, the music in the background is
Wait for the
emanating
acknowledgement.
from the Imperial.
Can you show us, myself and 2456, entering the Imperial to do a walkthrough? And can you let Alpha 20 know we're going on to licensed premises? Charlie 20, sorry.
Show yourself and 2456 do a walkthrough under Imperial, and can you let Charlie 20?
Oh, 20. That's great, thank you.
Evening. No, I'm not dancing tonight. Hello. Oh, thank you. Are you having a good time? A bit noisy in there, isn't it?
So it's conducting a walkthrough this evening.
Sure, just in regard to the rest of the footage, it just shows officers walking through, checking the toilets. There was nothing else of note. It was just for you to hear the noise and just to show what a typical Saturday night has been in the Imperial.
Can you come inside with that glass? No, I'm not. I'm the manager. Yeah. It's called Philip Barrow. Chris, the other guy that owns it, his license has literally just gone in as well, so, but yeah, he's going to be here more, so, yeah. Yeah, it's Tickle. Yeah. I know, yeah, Christopher Tickle. Well, he's related to, you know, Lee that works. Yeah, Lee Tickle.
Any dog stuff on?
No,
No dog stuff.
no. We are looking to get door staff as well. It's getting busier, so.
We've got CCTV.
Yeah, we've got CCTV on. These like recorder.
Yeah, it's recording at the
I
moment.
like them on that.
You look lovely. You look lovely.
Have you got bottle collectors on or anything tonight?
Pardon?
Have you got bottle collectors on?
No, we've got 3 staff on. So,
staff on,
yeah,
so
we've
they're
got
on
3
the clock.
staff on, yeah.
Right, that's everything I've got for you at the moment.
Okay, we're just going to do a walkthrough, vomit toilets and things like that, alright?
Chair, in terms of the footage, I'm happy for that not to be continued if you would like to cancel that.
We'll stick together. The ladies are over there.
Yes, Chair, that's the end of my representation. I've got no further footage to show you. The CCTV is active. My understanding of it is that it's extremely poor quality.
Right. Again, I think you made comment to non-SIA door staff supervising the premises. Is that the understanding?
That is an allegation that has been made. It's not one that we can prove. The complainant in that particular report disengaged from the police and wouldn't speak to us any further.
But you can confirm that no door staff were on duty at the time of
No
of
non-door
the
staff were on
assault.
duty.
Right. I mean, it's quite shocking footage, and I certainly just want to thank the officers because it does show what kind of incidents that you deal with, probably on a daily basis, I would imagine. So, questions from the committee? I do have some other questions, but
I find it quite hard to understand why what we've just seen, the bar staff saying on the 16th of July they were looking to get door staff, that still by the 4th of September when the last incident occurred, there was still no door staff employed. I just find that a completely cavalier attitude to what is obviously a pub with very severe problems with behaviour, that there's still no bar staff being employed and that the DPS doesn't seem to be available or supervising what's happening there. Is that your experience of this?
When officers have visited, I believe it's Mr. Marrow, who was the DPS at the time, there's only been one occasion where he has actually been spoken to during the nighttime economy and been present in the business.
And sorry, Chair, if I can have a supplementary question. Looking from the video, it's very clear to see that when people have been outside and fighting in the streets, they're still allowed back into the premises afterwards, and there doesn't seem to be any attempt to stop that. Is that correct?
That is correct. It is something that would likely have been prevented had there been door supervisors on duty.
And that there's mention in the documentation about people who've been banned from other premises as a result of the pub watch activity being allowed into the Imperial without any restrictions. Is that right?
This is correct, Chair. I believe Mr. Howson has more information on the Imperial and the Chorley Pub Watch meeting, however.
okay. Just to clarify, the cameras which are used, they are not fixed solely on the Imperial. They're controlled cameras from camera control.
They are controlled cameras, Chair. You see, I think at the start of the clip, it's covering, I want to say, the far side of the Flatiron car park towards the walkway by the cinema, and it pans round and then zooms in on the Imperial.
I'm not trying to to get personal view here, but how would you best describe the management at the time of the Imperial? How would you best describe the measures of control over for the existing conditions that they had in place? And it may be a question to be asked elsewhere. I appreciate that.
Chair, can I just jump in there?
Yeah.
I think that that would be more appropriate for the licensing officer when he outlines his representation.
I
question's come from him.
would still be interested from the police to know what their opinion of the premises, with so many incidents happening. Was that something that was it a priority for the police to make sure that these inspections happened? Was there extra? Was it a priority premises for the police to be aware of?
I would say very much so, Chair. In terms of operationally, every week we draft out what is called Operation Night Safe. It's an operation dedicated to minimising alcohol-related crime and disorder in town centres or city centres. And premises that feature on there is those that are undergoing change of management. So in this case, we've had 5 DPS applications in less than a year. That inconsistent approach would kind of raise concerns there for me. We'd also do the walkthroughs on the back of previous incidents or any intelligence that we received.
So was it clear to you who was in charge on a day-to-day basis there?
No, I would say it's been very difficult. I was the one that objected on behalf of the constabulary when I spoke to proposed DPS, and they said, I'm doing it as a favour for a mate. He didn't understand any of his responsibilities as the designated premises supervisor, and I advised him accordingly that he shouldn't be doing it because he risks his own personal licence by doing such action.
Right. Alan? Yeah.
Just one question, Chair. Are there any other pubs in the town centre that demonstrate this sort of activity?
I would say no. Chorley Town Centre is quite a good town centre. It's got a strong pub watch. The businesses work very well together, and the actual incidents are quite low.
Any further questions?
Yeah, there was another, on that last recording we watched, it was very clear that there were people standing outside with drinking from open containers because she called someone in, which again, the staff don't seem to be aware, from what I can see, of what the restrictions are on how the customers should be behaving with regard to alcohol, and I think that's quite of major concern, given that they're in the centre of town. And to be honest, I really find that the whole thing quite shocking.
Just one final question. It's just on access and egress to the premises. Obviously, in one incident, you can see 2 individuals look like they come out from a side exit. Just for my understanding, really, could you just explain, is there multiple entrances? Or is it just everything through the front door? Or is there access through the rear?
My understanding is it's only the front door. Any side exits would be a fire escape for staff in event emergency.
Right. Sorry, I can turn that off. Right. Nathan, any questions?
No, Chair, I had a simple comment to make, and it was in response to something Councillor France had mentioned about the glass open drinking vessels being outside. It is actually a condition of the premises licence that there must be no open drinking vessels outside. So it is a breach of the licence, but that's all I had to say.
Right. Mr Hayes, any questions?
No, thanks.
Right, therefore can I have the representations from yourself, Nathan, as the responsible authority?
Yes, thank you, Chair. As you say, I'm in the unusual position today of appearing before you as a responsible authority. Generally, I occupy the role that Tracy occupies. I made a representation in relation to this premises, this review. My representation is on agenda page 35, and it's based on the licensing objective of the prevention of crime and disorder. I'm going to be really brief in my what I say to the committee today. A lot of the incidents and a lot of the issues that I've had with the premises cross over with PC Connolly's evidence. Pretty much everything that I have to say is contained within the representation. And what I'm trying to convey in that representation is the amount of time that's been spent with the premises. There's been, multiple visits, which have been joint visits with other officers of the council, with the police, in an attempt to, help and assist the managers, I should say, rather than designated premises supervisor, the managers at the premises to, bring their activities into compliance. And despite those visits, that hasn't resulted in any improvement along the way. My main consideration at the premises is that the issues have been caused by poor management. There's been, as PC Connolly has said, there's been a number of managers cycling through. There's been a number of different people who have been proposed as designated premises supervisors who clearly have not had any actual responsibility at the premises. For me, the people who have been responsible for the premises is the brothers who are the tenants, and there has been various different people who have been described as friends or doing favours for them at the premises. And that, in my view, has contributed enormously to the incidents that we've seen at the premises. I did write to the premises licence holder on the back of a number of visits. That correspondence is at page 37 of the agenda, and I think that's essential reading for members in making the decision, because it summarises effectively the approach to the licensing authority all the way through this proceeding. I want to just make one point regarding something that PT Connolly said during his report, and that was, for me, it stuck out as very significant that all of these reports were CCTV reports. I don't think there was any incident which had been reported by the management of the premises. So, even though that there were, or perhaps there was one, even though there were significant incidents of disorder happening at the premises, it was still reported through via council CCTV or, police patrols and things like that. And I think that's really significant in how that premises is being managed. That being said, turning to the future and, the view of the licensing authority and the police in the future, throughout this process, we've worked quite closely with the premises licence holder trust-ins. They've responded positively and they've acted to deal with the issues that we've had. This has resulted in the premises licence holder being in the process of removing the current tenants. And for a lot of the issues that the police and the licensing authority have had, that satisfies a lot of, what our concerns were. I draw members' attention to the supplementary agenda 1, and that shows that we've come to an agreed position regarding the imposition of conditions on the premises licence. That's an agreed position between the licensing authority, the police, and also the premises licence holder. There are a number of conditions that we propose that the committee impose on the licence in a way to safeguard the premises from being used as a source of crime and disorder in the future. And as you'll see in that supplementary agenda, all members, all parties are agreed that would be a suitable way of concluding the review. So just to invite members to read through that. I'm happy to take any specific conduct questions on conditions or any of the information that I've provided, Chair.
Thank you, Nathan. Just for members' information, obviously, there is an agreement between all parties. However, it is the decision of committee that whatever action shall take place, it is for us to decide. And while I do base some prevalence on the fact there is an agreement, however, I think that will be for the committee to decide whether that is appropriate, not appropriate, and we will have a frank discussion about that. Questions?
Yeah, just one again, Chair. With your agreement, how, I mean, obviously you've reiterated it, so I'm presuming you're quite satisfied with what's in it. How satisfied would the committee be that this will happen and will be adhered to? And what would you put in place to make it so?
It's a good question, Councillor Platt. The conditions on a premises licence form part of the premises licence. If the business were to breach a condition of the premises licence, it's a criminal offence. It could result in a prosecution either for the premises licence holder or the designated premises supervisor. And there are, serious criminal sanctions as an unlimited fine, 6 months imprisonment, or both. So by imposing conditions, it's not, a sort of an easy option. These are strong restrictions that must be adhered to, and if they aren't, then there are significant sanctions available if they are breached.
Could I just come back on that, Chair? Sorry, Nathan. Thanks, Nathan. But I think the only thing that jumps out is that assumes there is a DPS.
Yeah, and in response to that, if there is no DPS, then the premises isn't permitted. There is already a condition on the licence, one of the mandatory conditions, that selling alcohol without a DPS. So at the minute the premises is currently closed. As a result of that, there is no DPS. They're not permitted to sell alcohol.
Just my impressions are that the whole thing seems to have been a complete shambles, the way that it's been run. It's a bit like watching somebody's private party that's gone out of control, and the fact that the person's employed on that premises to stop behaviour like that escalating. I'm not seeing any evidence of that. And I share Councillor Platt's concerns that, given the fact that, as you say, you spent considerable amount of time visiting and talking to and making recommendations, but none of those things were activated. Even though there are penalties by not adhering to those conditions, I still have concerns, to be honest, and I'd like to know perhaps what the premises licence holder could offer as some assurances that this behaviour won't be allowed to happen again. Thank you.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. Any questions? No.
Please, can I ask one?
Yes.
Just in terms of one of the proposed conditions regarding a written risk assessment, which will consider the provision of door supervisors. I know that it says that there's an expectation that it'll be carried out not less than once a year, but when is there an expectation when the first one will have taken place at all?
Yeah, well, without a written risk assessment in place, by the first time that the premises were to open, they would be in breach of that of that condition. So it would have to be carried out in advance of the premises opening.
Okay. Seems my daytime job is following me with risk assessments. Sick of seeing them. Right. Therefore, can I ask for representations from the licence holder? No other persons, have we? No. Over to you, Mr. Hayes.
Thank you, Chair. As I stated earlier, trustees as premise licence holders are a tenanted pub co. We don't employ managers to go in, we lease the building. So we've got no day-to-day control over the pubs that we let. That being said, we provide them with all the support they need. We explain what we expect. We go through the whole due diligence of licensing. This has been poor management, and this has been a poor decision to put these guys in the pub. Simple as. I've had the Imperial for a lot of years and we've never had any of this. The Tickle brothers have turned up, they won't listen to the police, they won't listen to licensing, they wouldn't listen to us. As soon as this started, as soon as we've seen we couldn't manage them, we've removed them. We've got rid of the DPS status, which we can do as premise license holder. No DPS, you can't trade. If you do trade, you're getting the fine. We're in the process now of trying to get our keys back and part ways forever. We run a lot of businesses in Chorley, a lot of public houses. We don't have these things. We're a well-organised pub co, and we do a training and we do a homework. Someone's crawled through the net, and I can't be, you know. Nathan, PC Connolly, they've been great. We've worked together and we're all pushing the same way. We all want a safer Chorley with good businesses in it. I think that's all I can.
Thank you. Again, I welcome the fact that Justin's got it wrong. And it's good to hear that somebody will get an opportunity to run what is a premises in a prime location within Chorley. I'm not going to bang the Chorley Council drum of what we're doing, but again, you as a business, I am sure see the potential. Questions from committee? Councillor Platt.
Hi, Mercedes. A couple of questions. One is, you mentioned you have quite a few pubs in the Chorley. Are they in the town centre?
Not town centre, close by. So if I quote the Spinners, the Black Horse, Astley Village, that's all there.
I mean, obviously the police have confirmed that there aren't problems in those pubs.
I beg your pardon?
Well, the police have confirmed that there are no problems within those premises. I just have one sort of... you mentioned due diligence in your statement, and about 10 seconds later said they'd slipped through the net. I'm not sure the two ever appear in the same sentence.
When I was talking due diligence, there's a process when we put people in a pub. We go through the premise licence. We go through the authorisation lists. We go through SIA registers. We give them everything that'll keep them right. You know, you do this weekly. You do this. It's not just a tick box. This is what I expect of you. I had alarm bells early doors because I couldn't get the Tickles to sit down and do this. So it was always going to come. And I think it just all exploded at once. But yeah, there are processes in place with due diligence. But when you interview someone, we've all got that wrong, I think, in this room. We've all had one of them.
Councillor France, any questions?
I'm wondering whether it would be important for any subsequent DPS that you do put in place to seek help, or certainly log with the police if any further incidents occur earlier in the stage rather than at the point where people are openly fighting on the streets. Would that be a helpful condition, that police are notified when behaviour is starting to become a problem? Thanks.
That would be a tricky one to implement onto a licence, because what someone would deem a requirement for police attendance might be someone's different incident altogether. The door staff condition for me is the best way of going around that.
I think just for clarity, I think the avenue for any premises licence holder, if they are concerned about what is happening within the premises, I certainly would expect them to approach the licensing team, have a frank conversation with the licensing team saying, I am trying everything but this is still going on. I don't feel like the licensing committee is here to bash people over the head that are trying every avenue possible to deal with an issue. If that issue is of a criminal nature, then the police are well within their rights to support the premises holder. If that's an issue where the licensing authority is better placed, I think that is it. What we want to see is good communication between a premises licence holder and licensing authority, responsible authority, police. On that basis, you've said that you had some concerns when things that should be done weren't done. Could you just expand on that and how you approached, or if you approached, the licensing department?
I didn't approach the licensing department. There were admin procedures that weren't being followed, and getting to know these guys' character very early and knowing this is going to be a problem. So me already thinking of an exit strategy. Every other tenant who is normally the DPS, it's open arms. They want to run the business properly. It's the same as when they meet the EHO. They want to do the business properly. But these guys, you can call it a morality thing if you want. They were wrong. They were wrong.
Thank you. Questions from you, Steve? Questions from Nathan?
No, thank you, Chair.
Yes.
Can I just confirm you have started eviction proceedings, haven't you, with the Tickle Brothers, and how far along is that?
That's with solicitors now. We haven't brought up the sort of breach of, because this is very serious to us as well. You know, they've threatened the licence. But we were advised that the easiest way to go was financial. So there's far more problems in this room, unfortunately, with the Tickle Brothers. So solicitors are on with it, and they're going the financial route.
And of course, the premises will remain closed. And
until I get full control of the premises and then appoint another tenant. And again, I think we've agreed I'll give a heads up on whoever goes in there if that's what you'd like. That's grand. I'm all for this relationship. I've got it with other local authorities throughout the north. So.
Thank you. I'm just going to go break procedure and go back to Nathan, because I think there was a question that was suggested would be better directed to you in regards to pub watch. So obviously we've heard as part of the evidence that there was individuals that were on the pub watch ban list. Could you just confirm what the status was of the Imperial with pub watch?
Yes, Chair. So the premises was not involved with pub watch. On a couple of different occasions, I think as I set out in my representation, I was told that approaches had been made to become part of pub watch. When I would speak to the management of, or the committee of the pub watch organisation, they told me that they'd been told in no uncertain terms, let's say, by the management of the premises, that they weren't interested in pub watch. So there were two conflicting stories between what we were being told and what the pub watch were being, or the pub watch committee were being told. But certainly the premises wasn't involved in the pub watch scheme.
Right. Thank you. Therefore, can I invite the applicant to summarise if they wish?
Chair, just a brief summary for myself. I think it was Councillor Pratt that asked about any other incidents at...
Councillor Platt.
Apologies, I'm reading it askew there. I apologise, Councillor. Ask if Trustin had any other issues. My jurisdiction area is the south of Lancashire. It covers 4 different boroughs, and Trustins have not come to my attention other than the Imperial pub. a lot of the issues at the Imperial could have been easily negated had the tenants been prepared to pay for door staff, and that would have likely meant that this hearing would not be on today.
Thank you. And Nathan, you summing up, Tracy? Just Nathan? Go on then, just Nathan.
Yeah, very briefly again, Chair, just to ask the committee to impose the conditions which have been agreed by all parties. They're a reasonable and appropriate way of promoting the licensing objectives, and I think they go far enough in the circumstances. Thank you.
Okay. Would you like to sum up?
Thank you, Chair. I think, as Nathan said, we've agreed conditions to be imposed. They're leaving, and someone's got the opportunity to run a great business in Chorley, and I'm sure all together that can happen quite easily. Thank you.
I'm just going to take some legal advice. Just bear with me. Sorry about that. Right, therefore, we're going to go to the decision-making process. Can I thank everybody for their attendance? And if you want to wait for the decision, you can, but I'm conscious that you may want to get away. Right, can I ask everybody to leave who's not involved in the process of Okay. Thank you very much for your patience. Members took account of the application and relevant representations, the Council's Statement of Licensing Policy, the Section 182 Guidance, the Licensing Act 2003 and the Licensing Objectives. After careful consideration, members resolved to vary the conditions attached to the premises licence for the following reasons. The applicant and the premises licence holder have been working together since the application for review was submitted in order to address the concerns set out in the body of the application. This has resulted in a number of proposed conditions being agreed and put to members today for consideration. Members are in agreement that the proposed conditions address the concerns raised in the application for a review of the premises licence, save for a slight amendment to proposed condition 3 below, and an amendment to the existing condition to vary the opening times of the premises. The opening times of the premises on a Sunday to Thursday shall be modified to 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. in order to address concerns regarding noise levels and the fact that incidents brought to the attention of this committee today have taken place during the week. In addition to the conditions, members would like to recommend that the premises licence holder joins Pubwatch, which also addresses the concerns raised in the application. The following conditions shall be added to the premises licence. A written risk assessment shall be carried out, which considers the provision of door supervisors. Such risk assessment shall be conducted for the normal running of the premises and shall be carried out on a not less than yearly basis. Such risk assessment shall require a minimum of 2 door supervisors to be deployed at the premises from 2000 hours on a Friday and Saturday until the close of business or until the immediate vicinity of the premises has been cleared of customers, whichever is later. Where the premises is proposed to be used otherwise than for the normal running of the premises or over a bank holiday, a further risk assessment shall be carried out, which considers the provision of door supervisors. All risk assessments required by condition shall be kept on the premises for 12 months from the date of assessment and shall be produced to the responsible authority officer or police officer on request. A CCTV system shall be installed at the premises, which shall meet the following criteria. All recordings shall be stamped with the correct time and date. The system shall be recording at all times the premises is open to the public. All recordings shall be retained for at least 31 days after they are made and shall be produced to an authorised officer upon lawful request. As a minimum, the CCTV shall capture a head and shoulders image of any person who enters the premises through one of the public entrances and shall be of a quality that would enable their identification. The DPS shall carry out an inspection of the CCTV system at least once monthly to ensure it complies with the above. Any non-compliance and errors, malfunctions, shall be recorded in the incident log and corrected within 3 working days of the problems being identified. Appropriate signage alerting customers to the use of CCTV shall be displayed in a conspicuous position at the premises, and a competent person trained in the use and operation of the system shall be in attendance at the premises at all times. Shall be in attendance at the premises at all times licensable activities are being carried on. Said person shall be able to fully operate the CCTV system and should be able to download data in a recognised format when requested. A bound incident log shall be kept on the premises, which shall be used to record any notable incidents, such as a report of crime and disorder, evidence of suspicion of drug-related activity, and any ejections from the premises. All entries in the log shall record the date and time, the nature of the incident, and the person recording it. The outcome or action taken and a police log number if appropriate. Entries shall be completed as soon as possible and in any case no later than the close of business on the day of the incident. Any person who is authorised by a personal licence holder to sell alcohol under the premises licence shall be authorised in writing. Such authorisation shall include, as a minimum, the name, signature of the person being authorised, the name and signature of the personal licence holder, and the date of the authorisation. The log of persons authorised shall be kept up to date and on the premises and shall be produced to a responsible authority on reasonable request. Prior to being authorised to sell alcohol at the premises, each person shall be trained in the responsible selling of alcohol. The conditions of the premises licence, the challenge policy and drug awareness. Refresher training shall be carried out at intervals of not greater than 12 months. All training required by this condition shall be recorded in a written format, which shall be kept on the premises for a minimum of 24 months and produced to a responsible authority on reasonable request. The premises licence holder shall produce a written dispersal policy for the premises and shall ensure the premises is operated in accordance with this policy. The premises licence holder and any person who made relevant representations may appeal to the Magistrates' Court within 21 days of the notice of this decision. Thank you very much. That's the decision of the committee, and can I thank everybody for the patience. And I now bring this meeting to a close. Thank you very much.